How's it going, everybody? It is Sandwich Pants here today, and I just kind of wanted to have a little bit of a early morning-ish kind of discussion. Not really a full discussion. I just wanted to give my thoughts on some stuff. I'm not really even awake. I'm the only one awake in my house right now, so the volume at which I'm speaking is definitely going to be different than what you're used to. Let's let's move the mic a little bit closer so I can be less loud. Um, I want to talk about the Russia-Ukraine situation and give my thoughts on some stuff that's been going on here. Uh, so Russia has decided to invade Ukraine. I was awake the other night watching the beginnings of the invasion. I haven't wanted to touch on the subject at all, partly because I've been dealing with my own personal stuff. I haven't really had time to stream, make videos, do much of anything outside of dealing with what I've been needing to do. And even then, I'm falling behind on that. So this is kind of my one bit of a rambling thing. This is not scripted. I do not have, I mean, as you can see, this is what my desktop looks like right now. All I'm doing is looking at myself in the camera. You can see I don't have any scripts open, no notepads. This is just YouTube. So, just so it's known that this why I'm rambling. I'm not scripted ever. Uh, so Russia decided to invade Ukraine. Now, why is that? Ukraine has been asking to join NATO, which is essentially a defensive alliance between some European countries and America, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. I don't remember exactly what all it stands for. It's not like it's that important, anyways, what the acronym stands for. But uh, yeah, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. All right, I was right. Uh, NATO is pretty much a defensive alliance. What does it do? Um, Defends countries on the border of Russia from Russia, pretty much the ones that ask for it. Now, Belarus is allied with Russia, and so is Kazakhstan, I think. But Poland isn't. Poland used to be part of the Russian Empire. Uh, Poland is part of NATO, and Ukraine wants to be part of NATO. And there's a lot of countries. I think Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are all part of NATO at this point, and they're in the same area. They were satellite states for the USSR. Uh, the entire point of Putin trying to invade, he said himself, is to recreate the Russian Empire. He felt like it was a mistake that Lenin allowed the country to be carved up into different nations. Now, they wanted that, so I don't think it's necessarily a mistake, and you going and taking it by force is, it's imperialism. Ukraine does not want to be part of Russia. Russia has been funding separatist groups in Ukraine for decades. In the Donbass region and I don't know how to pronounce the other one, I don't remember, it starts with an L. Litvask region or something like that. These two areas do have a higher uh, proportion of people of Russian ethnicity, but that kind of happens when the Russian Empire had spread out super far, and when the USSR had a large portion of territory, and then they became independent nations, and then the USSR fell, and then they wanted to be their own independent nations. Some of the people there, yeah, they're going to be Russian. But just because there's 10% of an area that wants you to move in and take it, because they're Russian ethnicity and you're Russia, that doesn't give you a justification for it. There is no justification for the seizure of land in this regard. Seizure of land is something that you do as a leftist to make the land publicly available to people. Putin gave, announcing his invasion, essentially a blood and soil type speech. He gave a speech about how Ukraine is and always will be a part of Russia. It has never been anything else. The people of Russia who live there want to reintegrate the area with Russia. They're going to. It was an ethno-nationalist speech. There's a lot of Russian people, so they might as well just integrate with our country. We're just going to take it. It's ours. It's always been. Like, no. So, there needs to be stuff done. What can we do? Well, as the country of America, we could sanction the ever-living shit out of Russia, which has happened. And it's been happening. And there's more to come. We can cut them off completely from the banking system, from international finance, which I think is a very harsh move, but honestly, like, actually, no, this one's a little weird. I actually don't think that's a great move, cutting an entire nation out, because, I mean, that, well, no, okay. Let me think about this way, because these aren't comparable situations. I had a problem with the freezing of assets at the Freedom Convoy for Canada. And people might think it's hypocritical that I don't really have a problem with cutting Russia out of the international financial systems, the instant banking, online banking, transactional systems and stuff. They might think that's a little hypocritical. But these are two categorically different things. For one, within Canada, being cut off from banking entirely as just a Canadian citizen is fucked. You don't have any opportunities. However, when it comes to Russia, the Russian economy is absolute dog shit, and they just bully the countries in their immediate area for the stuff that they need to prop up the bit of economy that they do have. Cutting them off from international finances and probably won't hurt them as much as people want to think it will. On top of that, they're being imperialists. They are being aggressors. They are starting a war, posturing with the use of nuclear weapons. They have already begun shelling. They've already started trying to take Kiev. They tried to approach from all fronts to just storm Kiev and take out Zelensky. And this has failed. Many of the troops, luckily, thankfully, threw down arms as soon as they were informed of what they were supposed to be doing in Ukraine. They've left. They said they don't want to do this. They weren't told that this is what they were doing. They don't agree with this. So from what I've seen and heard, videos of Ukrainians taking this from Russia, and Russian military people taking these videos too, like, they don't want to be a part of this conflict. But now that this conflict has begun, and the posturing started a while back, we've been able to see who's really shown their ass. Like, hard. Haas, Infrared, Jackson Hinkle, Hasan, Mike from PA. Fucking dog shit takes. Clowns. And I will say this in the nicest possible way that I can think of at this point with my sleep-deprived brain. Hasan, you especially, with you being the largest leftist content creator, need to shut the fuck up until you actually think and study this situation. It's not just America bad. Anything America supports you need to support the opposite, because that seems to be your fucking position on here. You're acting so goddamn smooth-brained. I know you're a himbo. I know your brain isn't that wrinkled. I know you're not as smart as other people in the online left. But this is not a very difficult position to reach. This is about the sovereignty of another fucking nation. Ukraine. They have asked for support from NATO. It's not that NATO came in and forced support on them and then demands that they join. No, NATO has rejected Ukraine previously, and Ukraine keeps asking to join NATO, which means they really fucking want it. So now, us giving support to Ukraine against Russia is the objectively good position to take. Mike from PA. You're a spineless fucking weasel, and you only hold this position because that's the position Hasan holds, and you disagreeing with Hasan ruins your entire stream. You should seriously just shut the fuck up consistently. Just don't. You don't have good takes. You just hang on to Hasan. Haas and Jackson Hinkle. I probably don't need to say too much about this because anyone who tunes into my channel already knows that I think they are some of the most smooth-brained, fucking slimy, weaselly fucks on the entire planet. Haas, I think, has a subterranean IQ. His IQ is so low that he owes people points. And Jackson is even worse because Jackson is a human chameleon. He never takes good positions. I've never heard anything good or smart come out of Jackson's mouth or read it off of his Twitter. I have heard something smart come out from Haas. But that's only because he was agreeing with somebody else who I also agree with. And all of these people have been supporting Russia. Well, with Haas and Jackson, this really isn't a surprise to me because, well, they're fascists. They're not actually leftists. They just drape themselves in leftist aesthetic to try and convince people towards fascism. They push people to the right. That is their entire goal. They're literally doing what Nazis did when they fucking LARPed as socialists. That's all they do. That's all Haas and Jackson do. What makes Jackson infinitely more insidious is he will literally just adopt anything. He, back in 2018, when he was running campaigns, he was an ubu soft boy, and he spoke real soft, and he wanted to make sure that everybody knew he wasn't a threat. And now he's out there just being a fucking cringy douche lord. Honestly, with this hugely toxic masculine vibes and whatnot, like, come on, dude. You're very dumb, and you have terrible takes on this on every situation. So, as a quick tip, this isn't a true thing in every situation. This isn't a universally truthful thing. But if you hear Haas and Jackson on an issue, immediately think the other side of the issue. Go to the other side and look and see what's going on there. Because for the most part, I've never heard them say anything where I would really support them. Then again, these people support Stalin and say that Stalin was absolutely a communist who never did anything wrong. And as anyone who's ever read anything in history has learned, Stalin was a fucking shit. This is kind of a scattershot thing, but overall, the situation right now is actually looking more in favor for Ukraine. They're just beating ass right now. Hell, there's from what I've seen, I don't know how truthful it is, there's like one pilot who's taken out 6 fighter jets. The Ghost of Kiev, glory be. Anyways, because this thing has nothing to do with America as a general thing, like it's not our actual conflict, and so we don't have a whole lot that's going on into it, outside of us sending weapons support. Like, we're sending arms over to Ukraine, which is fine, they're buying them, so. I think the Ukrainian government's just handing out guns to people. You just go up there and be like, I want a gun. So, I don't think that Russia's going to be able to take Ukraine, and I think this will damage Putin's credibility in the country. It will damage his reputation. It will damage the country. It will damage their economy, and maybe it'll be another October Revolution in Russia, except without a right-leaning lunatic as the head, and then after he dies, the place gets taken over by an even further right lunatic. Hopefully it actually goes left this time, because Lenin and Stalin sure didn't. They sure as fuck didn't. I'm salty with what Lenin did to the anarchists. That's the main thing. Ooh, that's even better down. Alright, so that's going to wrap this up. This was fucking 15 minutes of me rambling. If you want to hear more stuff from me, like, comment, subscribe. give suggestions, ask for stuff, and have a good one.